Alright, here we are with the director of the new film, Idle Minds version Deuce, Mark Stevenson. Mark, how are you feeling today?
I'm very well.
That's good. Now, Mark, can you give us your first reaction to when you got the script?
When I first got the script, now I knew Mr. Vanguard, Archie, as we call him, Archman, achy breaky, so he sent me the script, first as a writing sample. He wanted to see how I thought about his writing. And when I first got the script, I thought I was on an acid trip. I thought I was seeing little white elephants flying around, and I almost thought I saw Lucy in the sky with diamonds. I almost thought I saw her. But then I calmed down, and then I got off my high, because I was high too, and drunk. And
so, what do you think of his playwriting?
Old lady from Central Park.
So, what do you think of his writing?
Oh, well, after I came down from the high and put on my pants, I happened to after I came down from my high and put on my pants and got out of that woman's undercarriage, I sat down and I read the script in detail, and I actually thought it was a very, very interesting script, because I get sent scripts all the time, movies about talking trees, movies about a woman who can't get pregnant, all these different stories that I don't want to do. This was the first story that really touched me in such a way that I...
Did it touch you like a priest?
No.
What do you think of Aaron...
I've never been touched by a priest, so I knew what that felt like.
What do you think of Mr. Aaron Scott's acting? Tell us a little bit about your relationship to Aaron Scott.
Well, I met him very socially in at a party a couple years ago. It was a party where we were both getting very, very high. He had there was a lot of, how should I put it, happy people at this party, and a lot of people wanting to, relive Sodom and Gomorrah. So I met him socially that way, and I thought he was a very, very funny guy, had a good sense of humor. He was...
What do you think of him as an actor?
As an actor, I had seen his work before I cast him in this movie, and I wasn't all impressed, so I wanted to see if I could really push him to another level of writing. Huh?
You're supposed to diss me,
and
Aaron's supposed to...
Well, when I saw him...
Would you compare him to Marlon Brando?
I think he's better than Marlon Brando. He brings to the screen this presence, this giant presence. It's almost like the Golly Green Giant. You can't take your eyes off him because he takes up the whole screen, and it's brilliant. And I just kept saying, he needs to be in my movie because the world has to see this glowing image, this light.
Would you compare his glowing image to Jesus?
Better. He is the reincarnation of the Messiah. He will save our humanity! More than that, more than George Bush, more than Marlon Brando, and all those crappy people on Capitol Hill who do nothing but fuck each other in the ass! He's a lot better than Jesus.
Can you tell me a little bit about Archie Vanguard and his acting? What was it like to work with Archie Vanguard?
Well, I liked his writing, so I always thought he would be a good presence to work with on the screen. And I heard I was supposed to record me. And I knew his reputation as a very nice guy, so I was going into it with a lot of enthusiasm. The first day we sat down to rewrite the script, he took the laptop away. He dissed all my ideas and thought I was crazy, that I didn't want to bring anything. He thought I was doing forced comedy and all this stuff. So, but I let that go. But while we were shooting, he was like a male version of Julia Roberts, because all he kept doing was input.
Was he a pretty woman? Was he? Wait, are you saying that Archie Vanguard was a prostitute?
No, the problem is all he was doing was trying to input his personality. He's a strong personality, which is a bad thing because all he kept doing was taking my authority away. He was on a ego trip half the time, and it was a very, very difficult thing to work with him. Bring him in my home, tell him about my children. You know he stole my children. I'm still...
He stole your children?
One day after shooting, he came into my house.
He stole your children?
And he stole my children. Knocked my wife out. Had sex with her. She enjoyed it more than she ever... Well, he's never enjoyed having sex with me. Anyway, my kids were adopted, but that doesn't matter. He stole my children, assumed my identity for about a week, and he...
Do you need some water?
Oh, no.
Can you tell us a little bit about...
Vodka. Give me vodka.
Can you tell me a little bit about the...
Vodka!
Can you tell me a little bit about the making of the film?
Yes.
What was the hardest part to do? What was the hardest scene to shoot?
The hardest scene to shoot was Mr. Vanguard. He had to spit out blood. And it was hard because he didn't want blood in his mouth. And
was it fake blood or was it real blood?
Well, you know, certain secrets we keep hidden in our
pants.
We keep certain. I never did that to you.
No, you didn't.
No, certain secrets you keep to the movie history and trivia and such. But the fact is, the blood was because Mr. Scott had cut him. He cut him on his tongue because he hated listening to him. Because what happened was Mr. Vanguard was doing... So Mr. Scott took a knife and cut his tongue, and that's how we got the shot. And it was also...
Now, we don't have a lot of time left, but we'd like to ask you one more question. What do you think the overall message of this film is?
The message is that you watch too much TV and it's going to imprint itself upon your heavy soul. You see a bunch of, you see movies. A lot of people saw movies like Natural Born Killers or Requiem for a Dream, and all they did was go out and kill people. Look at the kids who killed, who did Columbine. All those things. The people who killed NBC. All of them watched horrible television.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you also tell us a little bit about Dave Chappelle? Was there any...
Dave Chappelle sued us. He wasn't happy with what we did. He thought none of his material ever surfaced. And because my two actors were white, he had some problems. And because I happen to be Guatemalan, he just didn't like it. He sued us. Practically all the profit we made from this film ended up going to him.
And how much was that profit?
About $25 million. We made this film for under $1,000.
Thank you very much. We enjoy seeing your future works.
I got a new film coming out after this is done. It's about the life and times of Jack the Ripper. So
that sounds very, very.
Well, it's taking him in a modern day and making him a political guy named Dick Cheney.
Oh, interesting. Well, we can't wait to see that. All right. Next up, Entertainment Tonight. Britney Spears has twins, but they're Chinese.